Hello, friends. Today we're talking about the benefits of sitting sideways on a sort of angle, leaning over a table, which is, of course, what I'm doing right now. And not really, that's not what we're here to talk about. Um, I guess the topic is yet to be determined. I just started recording. So let's see. Okay, 2024, new year. Um, what could we talk about? Hmm. Well, how you been? You can tell me. Let's see. Why don't we talk about? I don't know. I've got nothing to talk about. Maybe. So let's see. Maybe talk about silence. I don't know. Have I talked about silence before? I've talked about awakening. Um, so probably to some extent. But let's say silence. I think people feel very awkward with silence a lot of the time, but actually, like, it's a beautiful thing, silence, and it's very restful. And in Pulp Fiction, they say, like that's how you know when you've found someone really special, when you can just shut the fuck up and for a while and enjoy a comfortable silence. And I think there's some truth to that. Like, just being able to just share space with someone and not need to fill it with ideas or words. You can just be there. And, it can be pretty uncomfortable at first if you're not used to it. And even if you are used to it, sometimes you can get uncomfortable. But I think it's a beautiful thing to be like, to understand that it's the ideal and the healthy thing is to be comfortable with silence. Like, what have you got to hide? Are you doing something wrong? Right? Or if you're afraid irrationally that you're doing something wrong, then that is doing something wrong. You've got a wrong way of thinking, right? You're closing yourself off. So, um, I think silence. If you're just hanging out with someone and you can just kind of be comfortable, just let these winters come. Like winter in the seasons, you need winter for everything to recharge and then grow, and it's more spectacular again in spring and summer. In the same way, let the conversation have its winter, and then the spring will be all the more green. And even in other things, the seasons, but that's not the topic, which we've just decided out of nowhere. So the topic is silence. So, um, what do you think about silence? Oh, that's very deep. Not saying anything. Nicely played. Very good. Um, but yeah, so awkward silences and or comfortable silences. Um, but then silence, I think often people have the TV on or the radio or something, and I think sometimes it's like to distract us. It's like we want a feeling. Maybe it's just the dopamine hits of like, oh, things going on. Um, but also, I think sometimes people just don't want to hear their own thoughts or something. So they want to have all these other thoughts, which are, maybe they're benign enough, even if they're like trying to sell you all this junk. You're like, yeah, well, at least it's not telling me I'm a piece of shit. At least not explicitly, but although maybe subliminally they are saying that because you don't have the Mercedes they're selling or whatever. But um, and so yeah, I think silence. It should be cultivated. We should have as much silence during the day as possible, like until you get, well, even after you get bored, maybe. I think just to, let yourself hear yourself think, and maybe there are some things you should be thinking about, um, which maybe part of you is kind of, you know, avoiding. And so silence can bring that to the fore. Um, then it's just very relaxing silence, like going in nature and you hear the silence and it's just lovely and rejuvenating, and you'll hear all these noises all around, but there's a lack of the chaotic sounds of the mad homo sapien brain, and then you could say, okay, well, getting to the depth of silence, it is well, let's say there, people say, oh, there is no such thing as silence. There's always some sort of sound you can hear. There's always something. and everything's kind of, vibrating, even the om of the universe, the sound, the sacred syllable, the sound which the whole universe is making, if I understand it correctly. That's the idea. Um, so, but yeah, I mean, like, there's a hum to existence, certainly, but uh, it's like, what is a room? Say you've got like a dining room, okay, in your house. So what is the room? Oh, it's the table, the chairs, the bookshelves, the this, the that, the rug. Is that it? Anything else? Well, yeah, I guess the window and the walls, the ceiling, floor. Okay. Anything else? Oh, the most important thing of all, the space, the room, in the room. So it's not just the things; it's the space. And silence is sound space. It's the space in which sounds appear. And so, in order for the sounds are appearing somewhere, right? You are hearing some sounds. Where are they appearing? In silence. And so, silence and space, God knows what they are, like ultimately, But in our experience, we're in space, and we can feel that, and we see it, and we're here, embodied. But then in terms of sound, which is very connected to our thoughts, usually our thoughts are images, or which would be a sort of space, or they are words. We hear a voice in our head, or we think out loud, by talking, and so that is the sound space, and so that's it. That is here. Now, the final thing I'd say is the craziest and most amazing thing is that you are the silence and you are the space. Yeah, like, I'm here. I'm some fella who is called Jamie, but I didn't choose that name. My parents chose it, and even then, why did they choose it? If they were born in Zimbabwe or something, maybe, or they had a different language, or maybe they wouldn't have thought of that name. So there's all these influences on these things. And yeah, there's a body, but the body, every cell in the body wasn't. I remember being 18, and back then, I'm 32 now, so all of the cells in my body have long since been replaced by other cells. It's like what Theseus's ship, a ship of Theseus. If you the old ship in Athens, and they're like, oh, we're to maintain it, we replace a part whenever a part's getting damaged, we replace that part with some new part. So eventually, it's like, is it the same ship? It's if all the parts are eventually replaced, but like just gradually, one by one. And so there is some sort of common identity over that period. You could say it's the same ship, but in another way, it's different. So my body is totally different to what it was before, even if it's the legacy, the inheritor of, just like, much like me saying I am my ancestors. In a way, that's true. So saying this body is the same as the body when I was 18, in a way that's true. In a way, it's not. It's the answer is really to hold both of them simultaneously, and you get the 3D image of having two different pictures put together. But then my emotions and my mind have also changed radically over that time. So I'm basically a completely different person. There's a lot of similarities, but if I had met myself back then, I'd be like, oh yeah, oh, you're different to me, and different, or this, I could have met someone back then who's exactly as I am now. That's, or very, very similar, and so, but again, there's a continuity, but it's different. So my point is, the body, the emotions, the mind, all of this changes constantly. And, you can see it changing over like 10 years for sure. And then even every year, I'm kind of different, than I was last year. Some years changes faster than others. But then the crazy thing is, if you focus on it and think about it, this process is actually constantly happening. And so every single moment, you're dead and reborn in a way. Physically, emotionally, mentally, etc. But then actually that would mean there is no self, right? Like, wait, it's just an illusion. There's no enduring constant self here. But actually there is, but it's, episode 7, if you want to get into that, awakening. To make a long story short, it seems to be the case, I'm a student, but I'm a student of who I am, but I am who I am. So I have some vague idea, sometimes a clearer idea. But spiritual teachers and wise people have talked about this forever. Um, you could look up Eckhart Tolle or Adyashanti or Muji or Gangaji. Um, those people talk a lot about this. Rupert Spira, um, and etc. But yeah, the essentially you are the universe, but you are the universe experiencing itself as one little person. And the universe is enormous. It's infinite, I guess. And so it's like you are the branch. You are not the whole tree. You're just the branch. You don't know what's going on in the rest of the tree, but you are totally connected to the tree. And actually, without the branches, there is no tree. Just like without the waves, there is no ocean. Or you could say without the drops of water, there is no ocean. So we are one, but it's a paradox. But so we are the universe experiencing itself as a branch, the tree experiencing itself as a branch. So, so our true identity, we are the universe. We are consciousness. We are silence, you could say. We are space. So there's many words you could put on it, but again, the truth is silence. It's not words. And that's the amazing thing, is the highest state of understanding a human can attain is, well, I don't know about the highest or whatever, but the highest that I'm aware of. And let's put it this way. There is a higher level than thinking. We think, oh yeah, we think and animals don't, so we're the smartest. Well, yeah, we're smarter than, if we're living in balance and a wise life, then yeah, we have thought and ability to think and remember and anticipate, etc. Use logic and stuff. So we are at a higher level of understanding. But there is another higher level than that, and it is silence, mental silence. But it's not the same as like the animal or like the maybe the baby or whatever who might not be thinking. It's who just looks at you. It is kind of like a spiral. So you've come full circle. In one way, it's just a circle. But in another way, if you turn it on the side, actually, in this third dimension, you're actually making progress in a certain way. And so you're coming back from one point of view, yeah, just back to silence. But you've learned so much along the way, and you have the ability to drop back into thinking at any point you want. And so you've got a higher perspective on that silence. And you understand, for example, oh my God, I'm the universe. So, and to get back to the point, you can practically experience your oneness with the universe and the fact that you are the tree, and go, okay, Jamie's cool and I'm Jamie, I'm happy being the branch, but let's be the tree for a second. Let's think, no, I'm not Jamie, I'm the universe, and just try to connect to the universe as Jamie. But wow. And it's very relaxing, actually. It might seem insane, but it's very relaxing because it gets you outside of your own egomania and egocentricity and all that. And you can kind of just, have a bit more perspective and maybe not take yourself so seriously. How do you do that? Silence. Look into those people I mentioned. Check out episode 7, Awakening, of this podcast if you want. And most importantly, just try to pay attention to the present moment. Feel your hands. Feel the vibration of your body. Feel your breath. And see what's like physically, the substances of the material world around you, made of protons, electrons, and neutrons. See them. What do they look like? Not with words, but just look at it. What is it? Let it in and just be embodied in 3D space. And yeah, basically just be in the moment in silence. And it's golden. So it is. All right, so that concludes our treatise on sitting sideways and bathing in the golden light of silence. Oh, I need some music. Okay, 1 second. I could just have the silence of music, but and I know where nobody goes and everyone fears the silence. Come on, everybody, let it know. Come on, your granny and your brother, ho. Let the silence come and teach you so, how to make yourself into the golden glow. See you next week.